Okay. Hopefully I've got everything set up okay. So, what am I doing? So I think I'm going to call this a single moment of sincerity. Or perhaps something brutal honesty. Or something the like. So, what do I want to talk about? So I do a lot of thinking, and I like to write, and I like to paint, and I like to I write songs and I kind of produce them here in this room that you can kind of tell because there's a guitar back there and obviously the mic and then the easel and you can see my whole world all around me here. And God, 1 second, sorry. Uh, Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm not working right now because I'm having some issues, we'll say. And that's part of what I want to talk about. And I think, I've kind of trapped myself in this room. I guess you can't see it, but there's a hallway / bathroom that leads to my bedroom. And for the majority of days and nights, I tread between these two rooms specifically and only. And in this room, I do the things that tend to alleviate the anxiety that I have, although I don't like to call it anxiety because that implies that there's no reason for it, and I don't think that that's the case. And in the other room is where I attempt to sleep for a couple hours a night. I don't want you right now. I don't want you right now. I don't want you right now. Listen to me. I have feelings too, Simba. Anyway, so I think my intention is to kind of talk about not really my feelings, because I know that that's not particularly valuable, and not necessarily my opinions either, but my observations, I think, about myself. Because I think if you're honest with yourself, and you look at the patterns that you display in your decision making and in your actions, then you can start to understand yourself. And I think that that's important. Because I think, it really all comes down to that founding question, which is, why are we here? Like, it's kind of nihilistic in nature, I guess, but like, not just why humanity or mankind, but like why. I guess I care about that too, but more so, like, I think every individual is like, what am I doing here? Why am I here specifically? And I think will find that more often than not, you have a sense of purpose towards some end goal. And I think that people kind of pick that, and I think oftentimes people pick that not so much on purpose. I think it just, they do things without knowing why they do them, and then those things become the reasons that they do the things that they should be doing or whatever, if that makes sense. And so basically the whole thing that has me in this crumbled, decayed state of entropy because I've lost see, I just went to the doctor and I weighed 127. Previously I was at like 145. I'm a pretty slender guy, as you can tell. But yeah, so I've, in the matter of like 30 days, I've lost almost 20 pounds. And that's due to the fact that I refuse to do any dishes. I don't have any food to cook. I don't have the desire to clean the dishes, to cook, and hunger has not yet been a sufficient motivation for that. And motivation's another really big thing that I want to get to at some point. Because this whole thing isn't me just complaining about what a victim I am, because I don't think that. The only thing that I think that myself and most other people are a victim of is oftentimes themselves. And I don't think that I'm an exception at all to that. You hear people say that, but then they're also the person that's like, yeah, I know you always think you're the victim, and then they turn around and they're like, poor me, and I don't think that accurately describes me, but so basically, like I said, I wake up in the morning, I come in here, I make a little music and things, and you would think, whether it's this excessive thinking thing that I do, sitting one place or another, because it's not always unproductive. It's not the thoughts that people often say that they have. It's not anxiety-ridden, completely intrusive thoughts. It's not obsessive compulsive. Well, it might be slightly obsessive compulsive, but it's not frantic, manic, diseased thoughts that are telling me that I should kill myself, or telling me that, whatever. Oftentimes it's about physics or things that I don't know about, but I learn about them through applying patterns that I see elsewhere to, and oftentimes things are pretty intuitive if you take the time to do them, which I know most of us don't have that time to do that because we are busy trying to make a life. But if you don't care if you have a life, then that opens up a world of opportunity for you to sit in a room alone and do all of the thinking that you need to do. And so, on to the point. So, I recently went through a breakup, and that is why I sit here now in front of you. More than that, though, I quit my job. I used to raise sheep. I sold my sheep, and then got the person I was living with, and obviously had felt some type of way about, left, and so I was kind of confused. I was kind of lost or whatever. Not I say was, but I don't know that I don't know that I've entirely found anything yet, but I'm working on it, and that's important, and that's what this is supposed to be about. So, moving on, obviously I have a lot of questions, and at first it was directed at her, like, how could you, why did you, and it was all, kind of the normal butthurt stereotypical feelings that you would have or whatever. And then eventually, I wondered, I think I was a victim there for a minute. And I was thinking, you saw how important this was to me. You saw how much this meant to me. I gave everything of myself to you, like you completely, and you have to be willing to do that, I believe. to, I mean, not every, you don't have to give every piece of yourself to that person and not be anything. I mean, you have to like open yourself up completely. You have to be entirely trusting. You have to be, I think, okay, so I think that it's very much like, so people say that if you start a business, you have to expect that in 10 years it may fail. Not that you should be willing for that to happen, but that you should accept that that is a possible outcome, and that you are doing it because you want to do it, not because of the light at the end of the tunnel. Like the journey, in theory, is supposed to be more important because that's what you're gonna do every day. You know, like that's so, and so when you do that, when you open yourself up to someone like that, you know, you have to be choosy and things, and there's a lot that goes with that, and there's obviously boundaries and things, and there's obviously a lot of psychology that goes into that, I think. But anyways, so I was in this dark place. It's not dark now because I shine this light on myself, and now I look like blonde Jesus. But it usually is a dark place. I covered up the windows. I don't know. So I got to asking these questions, and then I think I stumbled on one that matters more than the others, and it led me to question ways that I have been before. And it was kind of led into by that question of, I think probably a lot of men have thought this. I hate to ever really speak for what women are thinking because I find that I'm almost always wrong, but but I would bet that there are other young men, probably younger than myself, I'm 27 now, that have said to themselves, you know, how could you do this to me, you know, or whatever. And but I found myself asking how, like, who I was before. You know, what was I even doing? And I think back to who I was before, and it wasn't that different from who I was then. You know, like, yeah, I was a little more maybe like depressed. Well, not depressed because again, it wasn't really causeless. I was sad. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't clinically depressed. Well, I may be clinically depressed, but I think I was more sad. Like, I think that's the more applicable term to use by definition. So obviously I was upset. I was angry, hurt, sad, words, synonyms. And so I thought about it, and it seemed to me that before the relationship, hopefully I haven't said anybody's name or anything in this, but I don't think I have. But before the relationship, I was, you know, I still had my job, but I didn't quit for her entirely, you know, like I quit because I hated it. But, and there's more with that, but I wasn't so different. You know, I was pushing myself through the motions, and me and my ex used the allegory of the Matrix all the time. You know, like that's what you end up doing, and it's for good reasons. You know, like well, you think it is, I guess. Maybe it wasn't entirely for great reasons, but I was doing it, and it was better than not doing it. You know, at least I was doing something, which I guess is better than what I'm doing now. Maybe it's not, though. I mean, I definitely wasn't, well, I was still thinking. I mean, there wasn't a day that I worked that I didn't have an audiobook in my ear. I mean, and even now, I mean, well, that's just the type of person I am. That's neither here nor there. I was doing something. You know, now I make music and things, but again, I don't think for the right reasons. And I guess you can get into the definitions of what music is and what is good and what's subjective and what's not, and what's the purpose of music, and how can you decide what's good and what's not, and whatever. And that's a big old battle that I don't want to fight right now. But the point of it is I think that we can all accept that the most accepted reasons for making music are, one, because it's a business, which it is not for me. Unfortunately, I make less than zero. I have lost thousands on my music. I specifically do it because I enjoy it. I know that oftentimes it's complete shit. Sometimes it turns out okay. There's good days, there's bad days, whatever. I open it up, I'm raw. You can fuck. I'm trying not to cuss. You take it how you get it. You know, if you like it, cool, jam with it. If you think it's trash, cool, jam with it. I don't care, but because I'm not doing it for you. You know, I think the reason that I found that the motivation behind everything that I was doing was recognition. You know, I didn't go to work to make money, even though that's what I told people. Like, I wanted, well, I guess I did go to work to make money, but the things that you do by choice, the things that you do because you love or whatever, like, why do I do those things? Why do I make music? Why do I want to paint so bad? Why am I here talking about this? And I think for me, it's recognition. I want someone, and I think that this is carried over into my relationships, is that I want somebody to see me and know that I exist. You know, like, not see me walking down the street and know that there's a person over there. I mean someone that sees who I am, what I think. I want someone that's able to see the value in me. And I'm going to get to that because that's really important. That's part of my problem. Well, I guess I'll just segue right into it right now. So, this is probably a relatable experience for most young men and women alike. 17. Actually, I think, was it Kellen Quinn or one of them sang a song about, you know, met a girl at 17, said she meant the world to me, or whatever the words are. Something like that. And that goes over well, I feel, because we all had that somebody at 17. So I met someone at 17. Well, actually, we met before then, but we started dating in some sort of real terms at 17. Stayed together, went to prom together, high school sweetheart, and then some. Actually, she wasn't even in high school anymore. I was still in high school. She was graduated or whatever. But we still went to prom together. Her mom didn't like me. I don't really know what her dad thought of me all that much. I don't think that her mom had told him what he thought of me yet. But we were together a long time, couple years or whatever, maybe just 1 year. I think we were together 2 years before we moved in together. This is fuzzy. I'm 27 now. That's 10 years ago. But it's important because it's the same pattern, because this is at my core, I think, and probably I would assume other people, and maybe this will be important to someone. So, anyways, we were together a little while. Her mom was making it really, really hard for us to be together. You know, she couldn't really tell her what to do, but she still lived with her mom. I still lived with my parents because I was still in high school, obviously. And in high school, I was this dreamer, right? I carried a guitar around. I was a lot like I am now. I think I had probably long hair like I do now. I might have had gauges instead of, I was like one of the punk kids because I was really cool and didn't care what anybody thought, which is still a thing. And it's a problem because I don't have that motivation of caring what other people think. And yet somehow, someone please know that I lived and died. But anyway. So, her mom was making it hard for us to